Hello, everyone. This is an intense story that we read together. So let's take a moment to recap The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. Your learning target was to look at the point of view or the narrative mode and think about why that specific mode was chosen to tell this specific story. First of all, let's get this out of the way. Super messed up story, right? We keep reading all these stories that are not happy bedtime stories. Yikes. So, super messed up. Let's get that out of the way. Hopefully you were also able to look at the life of Edgar Allan Poe and understand a little bit more about where he was coming from when he wrote this. He had a very difficult life. He struggled with a lot, but he wrote some very interesting and well-renowned things. So let's dive in a little bit. So we talked about narrative mode or point of view, and the reason we chose this story specifically for you is it is an extremely powerful example of what that narrative mode can do. We immediately, from sentence number 1, get this voice from our narrator that's just pulling us in, and we get to watch him deal with this really disgusting, intense thing that he's going through. We get to really watch it all happen in his mind, which is a really powerful way to learn about this story. We could have seen it through somebody else's eyes. We could have seen it maybe more objectively, but no, we're in it with him, and it's really intense, okay? So we get this first sentence here: true, nervous, very, very dreadfully nervous I had been and am. But why will you say that I am mad? Really important question that it's posing there. I'm going to quickly show you some of my annotations. We're not going to go through all of it, but talk about why this is a really important narrative mode. It poses this intense question at the very beginning about insanity, and then it just takes us in this crazy journey through. Your highlights might look different than mine, but I went through, and as I was highlighting, especially at the beginning, I saw a whole lot about him telling us about himself. So things that he has heard, things that he has witnessed, things that he has loved, right? All of these things. We get the character of the old man presented, and we see him through our narrator's eyes. And so I made sure at the beginning to really highlight a lot of these details. And all of a sudden, even by this paragraph, I am thinking to myself, wow, this dude is all over the place. And I'm trying to ask that question to myself. Is he reliable? Can we trust him? Is he unreliable? Is the information he's giving me not matching? Is he not trustworthy? All right. So that's what we have going here. And then I notice a lot of times he says you. So he like points to you directly as the reader. And it really creeps me out in the story because I'm watching this man go all over the place with his thoughts and talking about all of these different things. And then he goes you and pulls you right in. Really intense way to do that narrative mode once again. So he says, you fancy me mad. So again, he is really focused on this idea of madness the whole time. It's the common thread without this story, okay? Then he tells a little bit more about the old man. I like here where he interjects things like, ha, right? Like we hear, again, his thought as he's telling the story. He's putting his personality into that and interrupting. And as we make our way through, again, we're not going to go through every single highlight, but you can continue to see that he is slowly slipping in and out of madness this entire time. And anytime that he really explains his emotions, I highlighted because I felt that was important to his overall character, his overall reputability, right, as our narrator, okay? So we keep going. I see a couple more things. And again, you might have different highlights than me, which is totally fine. But it talks a little bit about his emotional struggles here. Down here, we see that beating of the heart pop up. And again, hearing that noise and seeing it through his eyes is super powerful. It leads me to ask as the reader, is that real, right? Is he really hearing that heartbeat? What is going on here? And it's just this maddening, deafening sound that keeps going and going throughout. We see nervousness happen, right? And then down here, we see a little bit more when he starts to smile, and then he's dreaming about what had happened. And at the end, we see a really intense thing here when the heartbeat is getting louder and louder and louder, and we're hearing it through his ears and we're seeing it through his eyes. We're really trapped in this narrator's mind at this point. And at the end, we have villains, I shrieked, dissemble no more, I admit the deed, tear up the planks here, it is the beating of his hideous heart. So a couple of things I want you to think about as you are moving forward in this. Number one, we had to decide, is he reliable or not? That's a really tough question, right? We have times where we sympathize with this narrator and man, we feel bad for him. We understand maybe from a very far away point of view what is going on. We have times that we are scared about what he is doing and saying, and we don't trust him. So think about, is he reliable or not, okay? Then we went through and we had to think about, what is the purpose of this story? Why would Edgar Allan Poe write this story? It's super messed up. Why would he use madness and insanity in this way? What is he trying to tell us, right? And then the last thing that we had to do is in our PEA, you guys were trying to think about how does this point of view support that purpose, right? So whatever you said for your purpose, think specifically why a madman telling this story is important to that purpose. What are we learning about humanity? What are we learning about what we are or are not capable of as people, okay? Really intense story here, friends, okay? And like it says in your assignment, it goes back to this original question where he is wondering, do people think I'm crazy? Do people think I'm mad, right? So really intense there. All right. I hope this was helpful to quickly recap point of view in this story. Let me know if you have any questions.